Welcome to Matters With. I'm your host, PhillipBrian, and today we're here to discuss movie matters with you. Where the Crawdads Sing, directed by Olivia Newman, written by Lucy Alibar, based on the novel by Delia Owens, starring Daisy Edgar-Jones, Taylor John Smith, and Harris Dickinson, and featuring David Strathairn, Bill Kelly, Garrett Dillahunt, Michael Hyatt, Sterling Mason Jr., Jojo Regina, and Luke David Bloom. I have not read or listened to the novel. I will be critiquing this film as a standalone project, not as an adaptation of the source material. The story centers on a girl who's abandoned by her family and raises herself in a shed outside of town in the marsh. She's known as the Marsh Girl. It chronicles layers of PTSD, trauma, and loneliness, isolation, rejection. There are a few people in town who are kind to her, but not many. Even as she grows into adulthood, the situation doesn't get better. In many key ways, it gets much worse. When a young local man, the manager of the Western Auto, is found dead, she's immediately blamed based on zero actual evidence. The story bounces back and forth between her trial and her life up until she was arrested. Okay, there's a lot here. The cinematography, hair and makeup, and lighting are all beautiful. It's beautifully shot. The hair and makeup's really good, and the lighting is fantastic. It's as if the decision makers decided to film it, light it, and present it without knowing the content of the script, because the script is dark. The subject matter is difficult and deals with isolation, rejection, fear, hurt, pain, so many levels of trauma, and the steely resolve of one little girl to grow into a creatively productive member of society. It's incongruent. It's shot through a greeting card lens with subject matter the same weight of A Time to Kill. The imbalance is difficult to reconcile. It's glossy when it should have been a matte print with dirty fingerprints on it. The better choice would have been to make it gritty and uncomfortable and a little scary at moments, where you could feel the heat, the humidity. It should have been shot in a way that you almost could smell it, but it's not. Now, that doesn't mean everything about the movie is done poorly. All of these things in and of themselves are done very well. It's beautifully shot, and that in and of itself is a good job. The hair and makeup is done really well, and that in and of itself is a good job. It's well lit. That in and of itself is a good job. It's a good script. That in and of itself is a good job. The performances are good. Each performance in and of itself is a good job. The leads do well. The supporting players do well. However, so much of it seems like they're from different films, and it doesn't fit together well. So all these individual things that are done well don't gel to tell the story properly. It was shot much like a film called The Man in the Moon, starring Reese Witherspoon, who is a producer on this, and that tone fit that movie, but it doesn't fit this movie. To be truthful, I saw 80s soap operas with more grit than the way this was shot. Too much Norman Rockwell, greeting card lens, filters. The subject matter of this film could trigger a lot of people if they've been through anything remotely similar. However, it is so dialed back in its presentation that for the average moviegoer, it doesn't carry the weight, the gut punches, and the resolve of this character properly. It's like we're watching a really well-produced, made-for-TV movie. I think the better choice would have been to present the film in a way that conveyed the resolve, the trauma, the creativity, the beauty, the strength, the endurance, the will of the lead character, Kaya, rather than this incongruent message that looks like I'm watching some moving travel advertisement for the Carolinas. It's difficult to grade this because many of those things, if they were judged as individual things, I would give high marks to, an A to many of the things. However, they don't work together. So no matter how well the individual thing is done, if they don't pair and are not congruent with the overall message of the story or with one another, it undermines the film in great ways. I'm going to give the movie a C. I wanted to like this movie a lot more than I did. My recommendation is wait a few weeks and watch it on a streaming service that you already have. Tell me what you thought of Where the Crawdads Sing. Let me know if you read the novel, and let me know how the film stacks up against the novel. We'll talk soon.